Hello children, it's Miss Charlotte here and welcome to the party classroom. Are you ready to focus today? Do you feel good and ready to concentrate? Mr. Cuddles, he is ready to concentrate and focus. He's going to join in our lesson and just sit nice and quietly at the back. He likes to take in everything that we're learning. But can you see somebody who is not ready to learn today? My goodness me, Captain Clumsy. He is fast asleep, totally exhausted. He has just returned from one of his adventures on his pirate ship. So I think he must have been trekking through a jungle or swimming the seven seas or something exhausting, hopefully finding some treasure to bring back for me and Mr. Cuddles. But he has just conked out fast asleep, so he's not ready to focus, which means you, me, and Mr. Cuddles will have to do extra focusing today for Captain Clumsy, won't we? Now, we are going to start a new topic called short division. Have you heard of it before? You will have done some division before, and that's when we group or share numbers. Knowing your times tables will help you with this topic. So thinking caps on, brains in gear, we've got to do the focusing instead of Captain Clumsy today, haven't we? I'll see you in a moment and we'll have a really good chat about what short division is. So children, let's have a go at this short division. There's a few things that are really important to remember with short division. I'll explain them as we go along. Now I've drawn a few little things on my whiteboard to show you. We're going to start off with the calculation 46 divided by 2. Some of you might be able to look at that and know the answer straight away. But this is a really nice example to start with because it means we can go through the method of what short division is all about. Now, I also like to call short division by another name. I like to call it the bus stop method. And that's because, can you see my black lines here? I think that looks a little bit like a bus stop. And I like to imagine all the numbers are walking up and down Number Street when suddenly there is a big thunderstorm and it starts to rain. Also, what would have been quite good for this part of my little video today would be if I'd had an umbrella. How good would that have been? I could have put the umbrella up. I always like a prop. I don't have one though, isn't it a shame? But we can carry on anyway, can't we, children? So, all the numbers are walking down Number Street. It starts to rain and they need to go and find some shelter. So they all run to the nearest bus shelter to go and huddle underneath it. But only the biggest number goes into the bus shelter because they're big and they say, everyone else can go away. I'm the big number. I'm going to push you out. It's not very nice, is it? So in our example 46 divided by 2, the bigger number is 46. That's much bigger than 2, isn't it? So the 46 goes inside the bus shelter. And you can see, children, the 4, which really means 40, goes in the tens column. And then the 6, which is a unit, or some schools call it a 1, that goes in the units or the ones column. Oh, but what about this number? What about the 2 here? It's just left out. It's standing in the rain. The poor thing is getting totally wet, isn't it? Oh, in the rain. Oh, poor number 2. So that's how I like to think of it, a little bit like a bus stop method. So, a bus stop. Normally, when we do addition or subtraction, or if you've attempted any of the column multiplication yet, we always, as a general rule in maths, start with the units or the ones column. But division is a little bit strange, children. We actually start in the tens column. We do not start in the units. As numbers get harder, we might have 346. And that means we would start in the hundreds column. And if we got even harder and we said 7,346, we would start in the thousands column. You always start with the biggest number in division. Did you know? So that's something quite important to remember. So for this calculation, I get my 2. And I'm going to do 4 divided by 2, or how many 2s are there in 4? I'm saying 4 because it's easier just to say 4, but really, because it's in the tens column, it is a 40. So remember that. We might say 4 to make things a little bit easier and not so much of a mouthful, but it is a 40. So how many 2s are there in 4? Or what is 4 divided by 2? The answer is 2. So I'm going to put my 2 there. It's a very curvy 2, isn't it? Okay, so then the next thing I'm going to do is the exact same, but with the ones or the units column. How many 2s are there in 6? Or 6 divided by 2? Have a think. You might know this. It's in your 2 times table. The answer is 3. There are 3 2s in 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So you can now see, children, my answer. 46 divided by 2 equals 23. Hooray! Well done. You would get a big tick from your teacher and a cheer. Brilliant. And then you have been able to do some short division. Let's have another go. Okay, so I have drawn another short division calculation here, but I'm missing the numbers. So this is the calculation I'm going to do. I want to do 96 divided by 3. 96 divided by 3. So remember, all the numbers are going to get wet in the rain. So some of them run into the bus shelter. Which numbers run into the bus shelter? The big ones or the small ones? Do you remember? It's the big numbers. So the big number out of 96 and 3 is the 96. It's a big number. It pushes out the poor little number 3 and it goes and gets under the bus shelter to stay dry. And then the 3 waits outside patiently in case that someone leaves and then they can go in. So remember, I said it's important just to take note of the different columns. This 9 is in the tens. And this 6 is in the units, or some children call it ones. And it's important we remember that, children. I'll just zoom in so you can see it a little clearer. It's important that you remember the tens and the units, or the ones, because it's all about showing your understanding of number. Okay, so we know we might call this a 9, but really it's a 90. So that's something that you need to remember. Should we give it a go? So we don't start in the units or the ones, which kind of goes against everything else we know about calculations, because normally we do, but not for division, because division likes to be complicated. We do. How many 3s are there in 9? Or we might say 90. How many 3s are there in 9 or 90? The answer would be 3. So I put that 3 sitting on top of the bus shelter. He's quite happy sitting up there in the rain. Now I've done this one, so I'm going to move on to the 6. How many 3s are there in 6? Have a think. The answer is 2. So that tells me 96 divided by 3 equals 32. And I know that's 32 because there's a 3 in the tens, which is 30, and I've got 2 units or 2 ones. So the answer is 32. Okay, so we're getting there. I think we should do a few more examples. Okay, so children, we can get trickier now. I've got a number in the hundreds. This is fantastic. 840 divided by 4. I bet you didn't think you'd be doing that today, did you? But you are so capable. We can do this. If you've managed to do the other 2, you can go on to these ones too, which is really good. 840 divided by 4. Remember, which number goes in the bus shelter? Is it the 840 or is it the 4? Have a think. It's always the bigger number. So 840 is the bigger number. That's much bigger than 4, isn't it? So I'm putting that in my bus shelter. And then the poor little 4 is sitting out here in the rain. He doesn't mind too much. 4's very friendly. So do you remember I said in division, we don't start off in the ones or the units column. We actually start off with the higher column. So in these examples, we've now got hundreds, tens and units, or some schools say ones. Before, we only had the tens and units, but now we've got hundreds as well. So we're going to start there. We always start with the number nearest to the edge of the bus shelter. So I'm going to do, how many 4s are there in 8? Or what is 8 divided by 4? Have a little think about your 4 times table. How many 4s are there in 8? Thinking caps on, the answer is 2. 2 times 4 is 8. And I've done a really swirly number 2 again. I always do that, don't I, children? But I'm sure you can see that's a number 2. So now I've gone from the hundreds column. Bearing in mind when I said 8, I really meant 800, didn't I? We just like to make things a little bit easier and not so much of a mouthful. I'm now going to do how many 4s are there in 4? I say 4, but it's in the tens column, so really, it's a 40. How many 4s are in 40, or 4 to make it easier? The answer is 1. Now I've still got this last little column to go, haven't I, children? How many 4s are there in 0? Bit of a trick question, is it? How many 4s are there in 0? Are there any 4s in 0? No, there's not. So I just put 0 to make saying, well, no, there's not. 0 times 4 is 0. Anyway, that tells me my answer. How fantastic is that? 210 is the answer. You'll get a big tick from your teacher and a nice cheer. Brilliant. So now you know 480 divided by 4 is 210. Woohoo! Well done you. It's nice to be able to do some harder questions, isn't it? Now, what I'd like you to do is to have a go on your own without me. I'm going to put some calculations up on the screen now for you to complete. But you need to be really careful because when they come up on the screen, you need to press pause on your iPad, your iPhone, or your laptop or computer or whatever device, because otherwise the answers will come up shortly after and you don't want the answers to come up before you've done the calculation, do you? So that's something you need to do. So when the questions come up in a second, just press pause. When you've completed them, press play again to see the answers. And then I will see you in a moment. How did you get on with those children? Was it okay? If you're finding them a little bit tricky, that is absolutely fine. Please do not worry. You might decide you want to go back to the beginning of the video and to double check the method that we used. What I'm going to do now is to get a fraction harder. Are you okay with that? Should we give it a go? Just keep being amazing and brilliant as you are. Now, I have got a calculation here that says 57 divided by 5. So knowing the 5 times table or being able to count up in 5s will help you for this one. So it starts raining on Number Street. The biggest number pushes everybody else out of the bus shelter and says, I'm going in. I want to go. Oh, children, I wish I had an umbrella as a prop right now. Wouldn't that be amazing? I could just sit with my umbrella in the rain. I wouldn't need a bus shelter. Oh, well, not to worry. So 57 divided by 5. So the first thing I need to think of is, I know my 5 here actually means 50 because really it's in the tens column. So if it's in the tens column, it's 5 tens, which is 50. And I need to remember my 7 is in the units or the ones column. Okay, so just always good to remember that. And in division, we don't start with the units or the ones. We always start with the highest number because it's a little bit strange like that. It doesn't follow the same rules as everything else. How many 5s are there in 5 or 50? How many 5s are there? 1. How many 5s are there in 7? Oh, hang on a minute. The first bit was quite easy. Hang on a minute. This is a little bit confusing. I need a diagram to help me. I'm going to draw 7 little dots to help me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 7 little dots to help me. Now, how many 5s are there in that 7? Well, here is a group of 5. Uh-oh. Oh, what about these ones? They're left over, aren't they? 2 are left over. Okay, so in 7, how many 5s are in 7? Well, there's one set of 5 in 7, and then there are 2 left over. We can call those remainders. And there's a way that we can use these in our bus stop or short division method. How many 5s are there in 7? There's 1. 1 5 is 5. And then there are 2 left over, remainder 2. So what we do is we do a little r, which means remainder, and then we write the number 2. So 57 divided by 5 is 11 remainder 2 equals 11 remainder 2. So now we've gone to remainders. This is good. It's nice to build up in difficulty. Let's have a go at another one. 64 divided by 3. Goodness me, we're doing some big numbers today, aren't we? 64 divided by 3. 64 is the bigger number, so it goes inside the bus shelter. And the 3 is the smaller number, so it sits outside patiently in the rain. I start off and I go, how many 3s are there in 6? Or what is 6 divided by 3? I'm saying 6, but really what does it mean? It means 10. So it's a 60 because this is our tens column, okay? So really I'm meaning 60 because it's in the tens column. So how many 3s are in 6? The answer is 2. I know that because I know my 3 times table. How many 3s are there in 4? Oh no, we've got another tricky one here. I'm going to draw my little dots to help me. I'm going to draw 4 dots because I'm a bit confused. 4 isn't in the 3 times table, is it? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many 3s are there in 4? Well, look, there's a group of 3, isn't there? That's a group of 3. And can then you see this little one here is left out? 3. And then we've got a 1, and that makes 4, doesn't it? So how many groups of 3 is that? That's one group of 3. So how many 3s are there in 4? There are 1. And then how many are left over? We have a remainder 1, don't we? Because that's the little remainder left over. So the answer to 64 divided by 3 is 21 remainder 1. Can you see that, children? We do a little r, that means remainder, and there's the other one, 21 remainder 1. Brilliant, let's do one more, and we'll go a bit harder this time. Should we go into the hundreds? Whoopee, we're into the hundreds now. Isn't this great when we can make things more complicated? So I have my little bus shelter drawn here. 489 divided by 4. So the big number goes inside the bus shelter and the smaller number, the 4, just chills out outside the bus shelter. Okay, so first of all, I need to think how many 4s go into 4. But hang on a minute, I say 4. What do I really mean? What do I really mean? I've got my hundreds, tens and units or ones. So 4 here really means 400. But I say 4 just to make it easier. How many 4s are in 4? The answer is 1. 1 times 4 is 4, isn't it, children? Moving on, how many 4s are there in 8? Or what is 8 divided by 4? I know my 4 times table. I know that is going to be a 2. How many 4s are there in 9? How many 4s are there in 9? Oh, 9's not in the 4 times table, is it? This makes it a little bit difficult for me. I'm going to do my dots just to help me while I'm working this out. I'm going to draw 9 dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right. I'm going to group them into 4s. That's going to help me. So I've got a 4 there. I've got a 4 here. Oh, look at this poor little one left on its own. Goodness me. So how many groups of 4 do I have? I've got 2, haven't I? I've got 2 because 2 times 4 is 8. But I'm looking for 9. So I'm going to have remainder 1. And that remainder 1 is this little dot here on its own. So 489 divided by 4 equals 122. Oh, can I squeeze it on? Remainder 1. I'll just write it down here as well, children. I am aware that is a little bit squashed on my little whiteboard, isn't it? 122 remainder 1 is the answer. So I've remembered to use my remainders. That's when it starts to get harder, and that's what we're going to have a go at now. And on the screen...
Delivery! Parcel for party classroom.
It's the postman! This is so exciting! I love it when the postman comes. Shall I go and see what he's got? Sorry, children. 1 minute. I'll go and see what my parcel is. Oh, how exciting.
Hi, Posty.
What have you ordered now?
Oh, I've no idea. It's a mystery.
Well, enjoy.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh, this is so exciting! Shall we see what I've got? This is strange. It's come in a really big bag. I don't know what it is. I've not ordered anything. Shall I open it? Oh, it's a bit hard to get out. Oh, children! Where has this come from? Didn't I say I wanted a little umbrella? Oh, isn't it sweet? Who has sent me this? I didn't order it. It's a mystery present. Oh! Who needs a bus shelter when you've got an umbrella? Isn't that fantastic? Oh! Who's that on the front? Is that Mickey Mouse? Oh, cool. Who on earth has sent me this umbrella? It's like they knew I needed one, or I really wanted one for our lesson today because I was pretending it was raining on Numbers Street. Well, this is a bit of a weird turn up for the books, isn't it? Who on earth keeps sending me these gifts? Also, gifts that actually are things I really would quite like or want, or other gifts that are just really strange but are quite fun and unusual. Well, that's a mystery, isn't it, children? Now, I'm going to put some calculations up on the screen for you now. Have a little go at working them out. I'll give you a clue. All the answers have a remainder in them. Okay, I'll be really pleased with you if you get that done. I'll see you in a moment. Remember to press pause when the questions come on and then press play again so you can see the answers. Okay. Here I am, just chilling with my mystery umbrella. Where on earth, it's hit me in the face. Where on earth has this come from? Oh well, it's gonna save me from the rain, and it is raining at the moment as I make this video, so maybe I'll have to use this later on if I go out. It's very cool. How did you get on with those calculations? Were they okay? Now, if you've managed to complete those, I'm very impressed with you. The next step is to be able to work out divisions that are similar. But instead of just seeing the numbers, you have to work out the word problems. In maths, to make things harder, teachers or examiners, or if you see an exercise or a textbook or something, to make things a little trickier, we often put in loads of words around the numbers, and you've got to work out what on earth to do with the numbers. What information do you need to take out of all those sentences in order to complete the word problems or the calculations? What is the answer to the question? And that's what you're going to do now. On the screen, I am going to put some word problems up, and I'd like you just to sit nice and quietly and stay really focused. Are you still focused, Mr. Cuddles? Oh, he's chilling out. I think Captain Clumsy's still snoozing, isn't he? So you've got to really focus and try and complete them. Remember, you must press pause on your screen so the answers don't show up straight away, because you've got to have a go on your own. You can't just have the answers straight away, can you? Okay, so after you have completed that, if you're finding these types of divisions quite easy and you're thinking you can do them, you need to go onto the Year 4 division video. We all work at different paces. We all work differently. Some of us will find this hard. Some of us will find it okay. And some of us will find it easy. And what I would like to just say to that, children, is if you're finding something hard, that's absolutely fine, because I guarantee you will find something really easy that somebody else would find difficult, because we're all good at different things. We can't all be good and bad at the same things, can we? How would the world run? We've all got to have a variety of talents and skills. So if you're finding it hard, don't worry. But if you're finding it easy, go on to the year 4 video, because for division, because the division calculations get a little bit trickier. So we're just going up by year group nice and carefully. All right, so well done. I will see you next time at the party classroom. You've done so well, I can now have a party. Woo! Bye for now, everybody.